I never should have bought that external hard drive. It was just another Saturday morning at the Goodwill on 23rd Street. I'd been hunting for old computer parts to salvage. It's a side gig that usually pays for my coffee habit and not much else. I work IT at a local insurance company, and my weekends are pretty much the only time I get to do my own thing. That morning was cold, the kind of February cold that seeps into your bones, and I almost skipped my usual thrift store rounds. Now I wish I had. The drive was sitting in a bin of tangled cables and ancient keyboards, its silver casing scratched but otherwise intact. Western Digital, 500 GB, probably from around 2019 based on the model number. $5. I didn't think twice. The cashier, an elderly woman who always remembered me as the computer guy, even gave me a discount because the case was scratched. $4.27 to be exact. Funny how these tiny details stick with you when everything goes wrong. Back home in my small apartment, I set up my usual testing station on the kitchen table. Living alone means I can spread out my computer gear wherever I want, and the kitchen has the best lighting. I connected the drive to my laptop through a write blocker, an old habit from my IT days. You never know what kind of malware lifts on these things, and I've seen enough ransomware in my day job to be paranoid. The drive spun up with that familiar mechanical whir, and Windows detected it immediately. 500 GB, about half full. Pretty standard stuff. I took a sip of my coffee and started browsing through the contents. At first, it was exactly what you'd expect from a second-hand drive. Old tax documents from 2018 to 2019, family photos, mostly of a dog, some birthday parties, college assignments that looked like engineering coursework, and the usual assortment of downloaded movies and TV shows. I was already mentally calculating how much I could get for the reformatted drive on eBay when I noticed something odd. Nested deep in a system folder, so deep you'd never find it unless you were really looking, was a directory labeled Dicyanin Archive 2019. Inside were hundreds of video files, all with strange naming conventions, strings of numbers followed by color codes. The organization was meticulous, almost obsessive. A text file sat at the root of the folder, Dicyanin documentation.txt. I'd never heard of Dicyanin before, but according to the document, it was some kind of rare dye developed in Japan back in the early 1900s. The file contained scanned pages from old chemistry journals, research papers, and what looked like personal notes. The writing was dense with scientific terminology, but the basic idea was fascinating. Dicyanin glass could supposedly reveal human auras, the energy fields mystics claimed surrounded every living being. I'm a skeptic by nature. Always have been. Auras, chakras, energy fields, it all sounds like New Age nonsense to me. The kind of stuff my Aunt Sharon posts about on Facebook. But something about these files felt different. The documentation was meticulous, with detailed chemical formulas and experimental procedures. Pages of spectral analysis data, equipment calibration logs. Whoever had compiled this research had been serious about it. The more I read, the more fascinated I became. The notes described a special camera setup using Dicyanin-treated glass in the lens assembly. According to the documentation, this configuration could capture what they called bioenergetic emissions, basically filming people's auras. The writer had included references to studies from the early 1900s, when scientists had actually taken this stuff seriously. There were even scanned pages from something called The Human Atmosphere by Walter J. Kilner, published in 1911. The videos were organized by date, each with accompanying notes in separate text files. As I scrolled through the directory, a subfolder labeled Do Not Watch Critical caught my eye. Unlike the others, this one was encrypted. The file timestamp showed it had been created about 6 months ago. I told myself I should just wipe the drive and resell it. That's what I always did with these thrift store finds. Clean them up, format them, maybe run a few passes of random data to make sure nothing could be recovered. That's the smart thing to do when you find something weird. But my cursor hovered over that folder, and I felt an uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. The kind you get when you know you're about to do something you shouldn't. The regular videos were unencrypted, at least. I started with those. Just a few, I told myself, just to satisfy my curiosity. The first one I clicked was labeled 2019-04, green 447. The video quality wasn't great, kind of grainy with a slight fisheye effect from the lens. It showed a public park, probably somewhere in the city. People walking dogs, jogging, sitting on benches. Pretty mundane stuff, except for one thing. Everyone in the frame was surrounded by a faint, shifting glow. Most of them had a greenish tinge, like a soft aurora around their bodies. The color moved and swirled as they walked, brightening and dimming in patterns I couldn't quite understand. I checked the metadata. The video hadn't been edited. No filters, no post-processing. Whatever this was, it was straight from the camera. That was 3 days ago. I haven't slept much since then. Every time I close my eyes, I see those strange, shifting colors that shouldn't exist. My dreams are filled with them now, when I manage to sleep at all. But worse than that are the black ones I found later, the ones that seem to look back through the screen. The headaches started yesterday. Small ones at first, just behind my eyes. The kind you get from staring at screens too long. But they're getting worse. And sometimes, just at the edge of my vision, I see things move. Shadows that shouldn't be there. Colors that don't exist in nature. I need to write this down while I still can. While things still make sense. Because after what I saw in that encrypted folder last night, I'm not sure how much time I have left. The person who owned this drive, I found out what happened to them, and I think the same thing is happening to me now. Let me start with what I found in those first videos. People need to know. Someone needs to understand what's happening. Maybe then they can stop it, or at least understand why we disappeared. If you're reading this, whatever you do, don't go looking for Dicyanin glass. Don't try to find these files. And if you ever see a folder labeled, do not watch. Believe me, the warning is there for a reason. I'll try to write more tomorrow. My head is pounding now, and the shadows in my apartment keep moving when I'm not looking directly at them. I need to take some aspirin and try to sleep. If I can, sleep. If the dreams let me. The headache pills didn't help much. I called in sick to work today, first time in 3 years. Told my boss I had a migraine, which isn't exactly a lie. The pounding in my head feels like someone's trying to drill through my skull from the inside. But I need to continue documenting this. The videos I watched after that first park footage, they changed everything I thought I knew about reality. Let me try to explain what I saw while I still can. After watching the park video, I spent most of that first night going through the regular files. Each video was between 10 to 15 minutes long, filmed in different locations around the city. Coffee shops, subway stations, shopping malls. Ordinary places filled with ordinary people. Except they weren't ordinary anymore, not when viewed through that strange camera. The colors around people varied wildly. Most had that soft green glow I'd seen in the first video, but there were others. Some people radiated gentle blue, like the sky on a clear day. Others pulsed with warm orange or vibrant purple. A few elderly people in the videos had faint, silvery halos that reminded me of moonlight on water. The documentation files explained some of this. According to the notes, the colors corresponded to different energy states or something. Green was the most common, supposedly indicating general health and stability. Blue meant calm and clarity. Red meant high energy or stress. The notes were incredibly detailed, cross-referencing hundreds of subjects and tracking color changes over time. I know how this sounds. Trust me, I know. If someone had told me this story a week ago, I'd have laughed it off. But there was something about these videos that felt real, raw. The way the colors moved and shifted felt organic, almost alive. And the more I watched, the more patterns I started to notice. Children's auras were always brighter, more vibrant. People in love had synchronized color patterns when they were together. Angry people had sharp, red spikes in their fields. It was like seeing an entirely new layer of human interaction. One that had always been there, but just beyond our normal perception. I started taking notes of my own, trying to make sense of it all. Created a spreadsheet to track the different colors and their apparent meanings. Even tried to find some of the locations where the videos were filmed, and recognized a few spots downtown. The coffee shop on 7th, the park near the library, the subway station at Central Square. That's when things started getting weird. Well, weirder. Around 3 a.m. on that first night, I found a video that made my blood run cold. It was from a subway platform, time-stamped about 8 months ago. Most of the people had the usual colors: greens, blues, some reds. But there was one man standing against the wall who was different. His aura was wrong. Instead of the flowing organic movements I'd seen in other videos, his energy field looked damaged. The colors were there, but they flickered violently like a broken neon sign. And at the edges, creeping in like ink in water, were patches of absolute darkness. Not dark blue or purple, just pure light-absorbing black. The man himself looked normal enough. Business suit, briefcase, probably in his 40s. But he kept twitching slightly, his movements just a bit too sharp, too mechanical. And every few seconds, his head would turn slightly toward the camera, though his eyes never quite looked directly at it. I checked the notes for this video. The writer had noticed it too. They'd started tracking people with these corruption patterns, as they called them. The notes became more frantic after this point, with multiple entries about increasing frequency of these anomalies. That's when my laptop screen started flickering. At first, I thought it was just eye strain. It was late, I was tired, and I'd been staring at screens for hours. But then I noticed it happened only when watching certain videos. The ones with the black patches. Sometimes the audio would cut out too, replaced by a low, humming static that made my teeth ache. I started getting headaches. Small ones at first, like I mentioned before. But they got worse every time I watched one of the corrupted videos. My phone started acting up too. Random restarts, screen glitches, battery dying faster than usual. And the shadows. God, the shadows. You know how sometimes, when you're alone at night, you think you see movement out of the corner of your eye. But when you turn to look, nothing's there. It started like that. Except now, the movements are getting bigger, more obvious. And sometimes, when I turn quickly enough, I catch glimpses of something that looks like black smoke, curling away just at the edge of my vision. Last night, I looked in the mirror, and for a split second, just a fraction of a second, I thought I saw something dark moving behind me. When I spun around, my bathroom was empty, but my reflection, it didn't turn quite as quickly as I did. I'm sure of it. I'm starting to understand why that encrypted folder is labeled "Do Not Watch." The thing is, I don't think I can stop now. The headaches get worse when I try to step away from the videos, like something's pulling me back to them. And there's this feeling, this certainty that I'm being watched. Not by anything human. By something that noticed me noticing it. I need to take a break. My nose is bleeding again, 3rd time today. When I come back, I'll tell you about what I found in the research notes about the disappearances. About the pattern I noticed. About why I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have seen any of this. If my laptop stops glitching long enough to type it out. If the shadows don't get closer. If I'm still here. I've been staring at my laptop screen for 20 minutes, trying to figure out how to describe what happened next. My hands are shaking as I type this. Not from fear, though there's plenty of that, but from exhaustion. I haven't slept more than 2 hours at a stretch since my last entry. The shadows won't let me. But I need to tell you about the encrypted folder, about what I found when I finally opened it. Maybe then someone will understand why everything that's happening now makes a terrible kind of sense. After my last entry, I took a shower, hoping it would help clear my head. That was a mistake. The bathroom mirror, it's not right anymore. My reflection moves wrong, delayed, like there's a lag between my movements and what I see in the glass. And sometimes, just sometimes, I catch glimpses of darkness gathering behind my shoulders, like smoke but thicker, more purposeful. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The encrypted folder, right? It took me 3 hours to crack it. Usually, I'm pretty good with this stuff. Part of my job involves data recovery, after all. But this encryption was serious, military grade, the kind of security you use when you're hiding something that was never meant to be found. Inside were 16 videos, just 16, each one labeled with a date and a single word, void. The first video was dated 6 months ago. It showed a woman in a grocery store, probably in her 30s, picking out vegetables. Normal enough, except her aura. It was like looking into a black hole. The darkness around her didn't just block light, it seemed to eat it. The air around her rippled, like heat waves off hot pavement, but cold. So cold it made my screen frost over. But that wasn't the worst part. She knew the camera was there. Not in the way the business suit guy from the subway kind of knew. She knew. Halfway through the video, she turned and looked directly into the lens. Her eyes, they weren't right. They were her eyes, but something else was looking through them. Something old. Something hungry. She smiled. My laptop crashed immediately. When it rebooted, the video was corrupted. I couldn't play it again, but I found the accompanying notes. Subject 23, Sarah Kendrick. First observed March 15, 2024. Void manifestation complete. Last seen March 22, 2024. Status missing. I googled her name. Sarah Kendrick disappeared without a trace on March 22nd, exactly 7 days after the video was taken. The police report said she left for work one morning and never arrived. Her car was found in the grocery store parking lot, the same store from the video. The pattern repeated in every video in the folder. 16 people, 16 black auras, 16 disappearances, each exactly 7 days after their video was recorded. I watched them all. I couldn't stop myself. Each one showed the same progression. Normal people going about their daily lives, but surrounded by that impossible darkness. And in every video, at some point, they would look directly at the camera. They would smile, and something that wasn't them would look back through their eyes. The notes got more frantic with each case. The researcher, whoever they were, had started to notice things happening around them. The same things that are happening to me now. Technology malfunctions, strange reflections, moving shadows. The last entry was different, just 3 lines. It's watching me now. Don't let them look at you. I'm sorry. The final video in the folder was dated exactly 1 week before I found the drive. It showed the researcher. They were sitting at their desk, surrounded by the same terrible darkness I'd seen around the others. They looked directly into the camera, smiled that wrong smile, and said the only words I've heard in any of the videos. Your turn. That was last night. This morning I checked my reflection again. There's something dark gathering at the edges of my aura. I can see it now, even without the camera. Like ink spreading through water. Or maybe I'm just going crazy. That would be better, wouldn't it? Better than the alternative. I tried to leave my apartment earlier, made it as far as the parking lot before the shadows started moving wrong, before people's faces started to look different, like masks that don't quite fit anymore. I came back inside. I don't think I can leave now. My phone won't turn on anymore. The screen just shows static, and sometimes, when it's very quiet, I hear whispers coming from the speaker. They're not in any language I recognize. I'm writing this on my laptop, but the screen keeps flickering. The shadows in my room are getting darker, more solid. They move when I'm not looking at them. 7 days. That's the pattern. 7 days from when you first see them until... I watched the first video 4 days ago. I have 3 days left. Unless... Hold on. Something's wrong with my screen. The text is starting to blur, but not like normal screen glitches. It's like the letters are trying to crawl off the page. And there's something behind me. I can see its reflection in the screen. It's...
File corrupted. Attempting data recovery. Recovery failed. System restored. Timestamp 48 hours remaining.
I had to switch to my old backup laptop. The other one, I don't want to talk about what happened to the other one. The screen started bleeding, not metaphorically. Actually bleeding, dark liquid seeping from between the keys. It smelled like copper and ozone. 2 days left. I've spent the last 24 hours researching the disappearances. Had to do it from my apartment. I can't go outside anymore. The shadows are too thick out there now. They gather in crowds watching, waiting. But I still have internet access, for now. Here's what I've found. Sarah Kendrick wasn't the first. Once I knew what to look for, the pattern became clear. Over the past year, 23 people have vanished in the city alone, all the same way. They just walked away from their lives, leaving everything behind. Cars in parking lots, coffee cups still warm on desks, phones left charging at home. The police connected some of the cases, but not all of them. Why would they? Adults have the right to disappear. And there was never any evidence of foul play. They just stopped existing. I found an online forum dedicated to discussing the disappearances. Most of it is the usual conspiracy stuff: alien abductions, government experiments, parallel dimensions. But buried in the threads, I found something interesting. Someone posting under the username #DGlassObserver had been tracking similar cases across the country. They noticed the same things I did: the 7-day window, the technology malfunctions, the shadows. Their last post was from 3 months ago. They're not disappearing, they're being taken. The darkness doesn't just surround them, it hollows them out, replaces them. And the replacements are still out there walking around, wearing their faces. But if you look carefully, if you see them in reflections or through cameras, you can tell they're empty inside. Just shells filled with void. I'm getting close to understanding why. The Dicyanin shows us what they really are. That's why they're targeting people who see them. Can't let anyone expose the truth. If you're reading this, stay away from mirrors. Stay away from cameras. Stay away from... The post ends there. Their account was deleted the next day. I've started noticing other things too. My research is affecting the world around me. Or maybe it's just affecting my perception of it. Every time I open a new tab about disappearances or Dicyanin, my Wi-Fi flickers. Pages load with strange artifacts. Text replaced with symbols I don't recognize, images that shift when I'm not looking directly at them. And then there are these emails. They started coming last night. No sender address, no subject line, just attachments. When I open them, they're all videos. Security camera footage, phone recordings, dashboard cams showing people I know. My coworkers, my neighbors, my family. All of them have the black auras now. In every video, they turn to face the camera. They smile that wrong smile, And their eyes are empty. The latest email came an hour ago. The attachment was a video from my apartment's hallway camera. It shows my door. Just my door for 3 hours straight, nothing happens. But in the last frame, there's a shadow. A dense, pitch-black shadow seeping under my door. I've barricaded myself in my bedroom, pushed the dresser against the door. Not that it'll help. The shadows don't care about physical barriers. They're in the room with me now. I can see them gathering in the corners, thicker than natural darkness should be. My phone keeps ringing. The caller ID shows names of people I know are missing. When I reject the calls, voicemails appear automatically. They're all the same, just static and something that sounds like breathing, but not quite right. Like whatever's breathing has too many lungs. I'm writing this on my backup laptop, but the battery is dying. The power in my apartment went out an hour ago. All the buildings I can see through my window are dark too. The whole block, maybe the whole city. Just darkness and those wrong shadows. I tried calling 911, but the operator, the voice wasn't human. It spoke words that made my ears bleed. 2 days left, but I don't think I'll make it that long. The shadows are getting closer. They're almost solid now, and I can hear something moving in them. Something big. I need to document what's happening to me. Someone needs to know. Someone needs to understand. If you're reading this, if you find this, don't look for the videos. Don't search for Dicyanin. Don't try to see what they don't want you to see. Because once you see them, they see you. And they're hungry.
Battery critical. System shutting down. Saving final log. Emergency backup power activated. Using phone hotspot. Time remaining unknown.
If anyone finds this, I'm probably already gone. The shadows, they're not shadows anymore. They've become something solid. Something with mass and weight and hunger. I can hear them breathing. But I need to finish this. Need to tell you what I discovered in these final hours. I've been going through all the research files I could download before my main laptop died. Cross-referencing dates, locations, patterns. And I found something that explains everything. It started in 1910 with Walter Kilner and his Dicyanin experiments. He thought he was observing human auras, but he was seeing something else. Something that had always been there, watching us, feeding on us. The documentation on the hard drive, it wasn't just research. It was a warning, a record of what happens when we see them, because they can't exist in our reality unless they're observed. Like some twisted quantum phenomenon, the act of seeing them makes them real. That's why they need the cameras, the Dicyanin glass, the videos. Each viewing makes them stronger. Each observer gives them more power to manifest. And now they're using our technology against us. Phones, laptops, security cameras. Every screen is a window they can look through. Every camera is an eye they can use. I know this because I just found one last video file. It was hidden in the drive's boot sector. Would have missed it if my system hadn't glitched and exposed the raw data. It's from the original researcher, recorded the day they disappeared. They've been here all along, in the spaces we can't quite see, in the darkness between moments. They're ancient, and they're getting stronger. The Dicyanin was a mistake. You let them see that we could see them. Now they're adapting, evolving, learning to exist in our world without the glass. Every person they take makes them stronger. Every disappearance tears the barrier a little more. I've tracked the pattern back hundreds of years. Cave paintings showing black figures with too many angles. Medieval accounts of people becoming hollow. Modern disappearances explained away as runaways or accidents. But it's accelerating. They're almost ready. The disappearances aren't random, they're practice. They're learning how to replace us one by one, cell by cell, until they can exist fully in our reality. If you're watching this, you're already marked. They know you can see them, and they'll come for you like they're coming for me. I can hear them outside my door. Their footsteps don't sound right. Too many legs. Too many. The video ends there. My phone is showing hundreds of missed calls now, all from my own number. When I block it, the calls come from numbers that are just strings of zeros, or binary code, or symbols that hurt my eyes to look at. The shadows have taken over most of my bedroom. The only light comes from this laptop screen, and even that's starting to fade. The darkness has texture now, patterns that move in ways that shouldn't be possible, geometries that break the rules of space. I can see faces in it sometimes, the missing people. Their expressions are wrong, like their skin is being worn by something that doesn't understand how faces work. They're reaching for me now, long limbs made of void, bending at impossible angles. I can feel their touch. It's cold, so cold it burns. They're pulling at something inside me, something that feels like my soul. The mirror on my wall shows my reflection, but I'm not moving. The me in the mirror is smiling that wrong smile. Its eyes are empty. Black smoke pours from its mouth. I understand now why the folder was labeled, "Do not watch." It wasn't a warning. It was a bait. They needed us to look, to see, to understand. Because understanding makes them real. And once they're real, they can replace us. My reflection is climbing out of the mirror now. The shadows are solid, the void is hungry, and I can feel myself becoming empty. If you're reading this, run. Delete these files. Break your mirrors, cover your cameras. Don't look too long at the dark places, because they're looking back, and they're coming for you.
Connection lost. Attempting recovery. File corrupted. Uploading to cloud. Upload complete. New email received from no sender. Subject: thank you for watching. Attachment: u.mp4.
I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you want more tales like this, hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.